Hey everyone, so today we're going to be talking about the distance and midpoint formulas, and they are written for you below. Here's the distance formula, and when we're talking about x1 and y1, we're talking about 2 points, x1, y1, and x2 and y2. So the distance formula is the distance between the 2 points. You take the difference of the x's, square it, difference of the y's, square it. And for your friend midpoint formula, this is as though you had a segment AB. The midpoint would be that exact middle piece, exact middle point. This is what you did in geometry, and you are taking the average of the two x's, divide by 2, the average, add the y's together, divide by 2. So the average of the x values and the average of the y values. So we're just going to try a couple of these out. You can label as much as you, or as little as you need to, in terms of x1 and y1. And so we're going to try out first finding the length of AB and then the midpoint of AB. So if you'd like, you can write down A and B for both of these. And I'm going to name this x1, y1 and x2, y2. So finding AB when it's written like this means find the length, aka the distance. So we are going to have the square root of x2 minus x1 plus y2 minus y1 squared. And then we are going to simplify. We've got negative 4 squared plus negative 1 squared, which gives me the square root of 16 plus 1, which is the square root of 17. A couple things here. First of all, this is the sum of two things squared, so the inside should always be a positive number. Secondly, if you could simplify this, like if this was square root of 25, you would simplify it to be 5. If it was square root of 27, you would simplify that to be 3 root 3. So in this case, 17 doesn't have any perfect squares hiding, so you just end it there. All right, let's find a midpoint. So keeping with these x1, y1 and x2, y2, we're doing the midpoint of AB. You take the two x values, you add them together. So x1 plus x2, divide by 2, and then y1 plus y2, divide by 2. This gives me 2 over 2, 11 over 2. We're going to simplify what we can, and we'll write that as 1 comma 11 halves. All right, great. And now we're going to go on to AD, okay, and find the midpoint of that. And actually, let's see. I think I actually want to do CD. Sorry, these are a little bit messed up. So let's do CD and find CD. Okay, so C and D, we're going to do negative 4, 0, and 2, 8. If you'd like to label x1, y1, x2, y2. And that's going to be used for both of these. Okay, we'll probably do midpoint first. Let's do number 4. And number 4 is midpoint. You're doing the average. Negative 4 plus 2 over 2, the x's added together, comma, 0 plus 8 over 2. That gives us negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1, 8 over 2, which is 4, and negative 1, 4 is exactly in between those 2 points. So that's the midpoint. Your distance here, CD, aka the distance between these 2 points, x2 minus x1 squared plus y2 minus y1 squared. Okay, be careful with this double negative. That ends up being 6 squared. So 6 squared plus 8 squared, okay, which is 36 plus 64, which is 100, which is 10. Okay, so those are one midpoint and one distance formula. We are going to now try out these two below, a little bit different. It says M is the midpoint of ST. If M is 3, 7 and S is negative 2, 10, what are the coordinates of T? So most people who read this problem quickly, they just start adding these together, dividing by 2. But you'll notice that's actually not what we were given. We were given that M is the midpoint of ST. So we know S is negative 2, 10. And we know M is 3, 7. So if you plug this into the midpoint formula, you're going to be getting this point right here, which is not what we're looking for. Okay, so take a second to draw this diagram, pause if needed, and we are looking for the coordinates of T. Okay, so this T right here is going to have an x comma y. Okay, 3 is equidistant or exactly in between the two x values. So what I usually think of this, there is a formulaic way to do this. I think the easiest way is just kind of to count. So how do I get from 3 to -2? This is just the x's. From 3 to -2, I would have subtracted 5. So if I'm going the opposite direction, I'm going to add 5. 3 plus 5 is 8. Let's try the y's. Same process. Take 7. How do I get from 7 to 10? I add 3. So to go the other way, I'm going to subtract 3. So I get 4. Final answer, 8, 4 would be whatever, that point t. If you want to check this, you could do the midpoint formula with s and t. So -2 plus 8 over 2, comma 10 plus 4 over 2. This gets me 6 over 2, which is 3, 14 over 2, which is 7. Is this point M? Yes, it is, right? 3 comma 7. So we verified that our answer is correct. Okay, let's try one more of those. And again, we're looking out for this because we notice we're given M as the midpoint of Rn. We're given the midpoint in one of the endpoints. We're looking for one of the other endpoints. Okay, so let's draw this up. R, M is the midpoint. N is the point that's down here. We have N is 1 comma 8. M is -2, 6. Okay, sorry, that should be a comma. Okay, so let's try this process again. Between the x's, from -2 to 1, how did we get there? Well, -2 to 1 is +3. Okay, so then to go the other way, we do -2 minus 3, we would get -5. This is just for x's. Next up, let's pick a different color here. How about red? From 6 to 8, how did you get there? We added 2, which means to go this way, we're going to subtract 2. 6 minus 2 is 4. I always encourage you to check your answer. You're wondering if the midpoint of Rn is M. So is -5 plus 1 over 2. This is me checking these 2 points. x1 plus x2. And then 4 plus 8 over 2. You're wondering, is this point M, question mark? You get -2, and you get 4 plus 8 over 2 is 6. So yes, this is M, and we are all good to go. Okay, thank you guys for watching. We'll finish up those other 2 problems in class, and please bring in any questions you have.